Hobbies. This is Carrie with Fullerton Professional Organizing, and I have another guest. And I thought she had a story that we all wanted to hear. So we have her here, and I'm going to go ahead and let her tell you who she is and what she does. And
I do have.
Okay. And a favorite scripture.
Okay, I'm Anastacia Ortiz. I'm from San Benito. I live in Harlingen now. I own a martial arts school. It's a mentorship program as well. And my favorite scripture is Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. But I always pray it over myself. No weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Yes, absolutely. It's good to pray that over our family, over our business, over our thought processes. Everything can benefit. All right. So, how did you get started in Taekwondo or
Yes.
Taekwondo? I know there's other things like jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, and I just want to make sure that we're letting the audience know exactly what you do.
Right. Well, when my son was younger, about 5 years old, we were homeschooling him at the time, and I really wanted to put him in Taekwondo. And so I kind of convinced him to go. Let's go. You can be a ninja. You're going to wear this cool outfit. And he was a little hesitant at first. And actually, he was very shy. Like if the neighbor was outside playing, he wanted to play, but he wouldn't go. So once he started doing martial arts, we noticed that his confidence started to build. And as I would watch him practice or go to his classes, I was always like, I want to do that. So we would go home and we got him some training tools for home practice. And I just would do it with him, and I loved it. And I was like, I think I can do this. And so I also enrolled. His dad was doing the classes with us at the time too. So it was kind of a family thing. And, you know, over the course of the years, it was just something that when I was sitting at my day job, because I worked as a legal assistant, I was like, you know, this job is great, but like I have this passion to do something else. And my sister, she's like, well, what are your goals? What are your long-term goals? And I said, well, one day I want to be a martial arts instructor. And she was like, how about now? And I'm like, well, I'm not ready yet. I have to keep learning. I have to keep growing. And so I wrote it down in my planner that day. And then actually about a week or two later, the school that I worked for previously posted up that they were hiring. So I'm like, well, maybe it's right now. And I actually didn't get the job as the instructor. I was hired as the front desk, like receptionist. And then I worked my way up, and I just kept training and practicing and fell even more in love with it than I ever thought I would be.
Wow, that's very interesting. Yeah, my son, we did put my son in Taekwondo. Now he did get a black belt, I believe, in 5th grade. And then he moved on to something else after 5th grade, but he did get his black belt. And, you know, he really didn't use it per se. He didn't go into competitions or anything like that. But the one thing he did use it for is there were times at school he was bullied.
Right.
And you can, even if you don't hit back, you're able to, you know, those reflexes to divert punches or to divert people from messing with you actually help as well. And having that confidence to be able to fend off someone that has tried to mess with you at school was a really good for him.
Right.
Yes. And the discipline.
Right. And then for me personally, like I said, well, I had struggled with social anxiety and self-confidence issues. I was very overweight. I won't say how much, but very overweight. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. I didn't even want to go to the grocery store. Like I was always wearing a jacket, covered up. And I feel like on the mat and that whole process of building that confidence really changed me and my inner like belief in myself. So
yeah, and there's a real beauty to the movements of Taekwondo and it really is an art form, right? And it really is beautiful if you do it right. And I'm not going to make any commitments, but I've been tempted. Maybe when I retire, I'm going to go in and and take some classes and maybe get my black belt. I don't know. That's a little ambitious at my age, but again, I want to do it for the exercise, and the movement is beautiful, and self-defense is important for women anyway. So it's, even if you don't get your black belt, all of those things are good.
Right. And I was just telling my students yesterday, I was reading them a story, an essay that I had written, and I said, the belt is a symbol of the journey, but the qualities that we picked up along the way live within us forever. So it's not just the black belt, it's the black belt mindset.
Yes.
And so that's, super important to me, and something that I pass on to my students with that mentorship that I incorporate into the program. One thing that I wanted to say about the exercise is what you said. I did lose over 85, 90 pounds. I stopped counting, but it was a lot. And everyone always asked, how did you do it? What did you do? What diet did you do? And I said, I didn't. I stopped eating cheesecake. That's one. And martial arts. That's it. That's all awesome. I did. I had to give up cheesecake.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a few bad habits we have to get rid of, but at least, you're not starving yourself and all of that. You that's good. So what was your biggest challenge, and what did you learn from it? Because you have started your own, correct? Right. Tell us about what you've learned starting your own Taekwondo business.
In the process of, continuing my knowledge and learning as a martial artist, I became aware of a greater purpose that I feel was spoken to me, and that was, helping others through their journey, not just through martial arts, but whatever goal that my students have, and they're between the ages of 4 and 15. I do have adults, but the mentorship program is for that age, like 9 to 14-year-olds, whatever goal it is. And so I knew that my purpose was bigger than just teaching how to kick
them an art
form. Yes. And so one of my biggest, obstacles was myself, of saying, well, I can't do that. So again, it goes back to the confidence and just being in your own way sometimes. And I think having to overcome that, my own, like, holding myself back and just letting myself go. Like I tell my students, you guys are my little butterflies. And one student said this to me right before I opened the school. She says, it's time for your butterfly moment. Because I would always say, this is your butterfly moment, when they would, like, all of a sudden, a student that comes in shy, and all of a sudden over the years they're so confident and they feel empowered. And this is a 12-year-old girl, and she knew I was moving on and going to open my own school, and she said, this is your butterfly moment. And I'm like, okay, I can do it.
Yeah. It's really good, because if you don't ever do anything that you're scared to do, if you don't ever push yourself, even if it's just a little bit, we're not talking about jumping off of a bridge for the first time. We're just talking about baby steps into something that is hard, that you don't think you can do. If you don't accomplish something that you didn't think am I saying that right? If you don't attempt to accomplish something that's hard, let's just, I'll keep it simple. I can't talk, but then you don't feel that sense of accomplishment. If you're always staying safe and always doing just what you feel comfortable with, you just don't get pushed that extra confidence, that extra...
Right. And that's something that I tell my students all the time, that if we stay in our comfort zone, we can't grow. And, in anything, we always want to be learning and growing. Something that we talk about all the time is having a white belt mentality. And what that means, no matter what color belt rank we are, is that we still approach it as if we're brand new, we're learning, it's day one, and we're always absorbing new knowledge and information. So it means that we have to put ourselves outside of our comfort zone just a little bit, like you said, and then we get further and further and further. So
right now I'm in a new, well, I don't know how many of you know, but I started a new full-time job on my way to creating my organizing business, which I am doing very good at right now. But I just wanted to let you know, there are that techie I think I've mentioned to in some of my podcasts, of course, I still can't talk today, but in some of my podcasts, I had to push myself to learn. I'm not techie at all. And I had to push myself to learn how to do the software for the podcasting. I had to learn how to be more techie. And then at this new position, I have to learn how to be more professional in my typing. And I have to go back to my school days and relearn some of the stuff that I forgot on how to write papers and stuff like that. So it's been a challenge, but you know what? Once you get past those challenges, you really feel good about your accomplishments. So it's very important. What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue your area of expertise?
It exactly ties into what we were just talking about, of always being able to put yourself in vulnerable positions so that you can continue to grow and not just being stagnant with your growth and your knowledge. So.
And what's something people seem to misunderstand about you?
My face. So I have to remind myself to smile, and because sometimes I think my outward emotions don't correlate with what I feel on the inside. And I think sometimes when people first meet me, they might think that I'm mean or antisocial. But I did say years before I struggled with social anxiety. Yes. So in the beginning, it was like I was fearful to talk. So I might be like, and so I have to remind myself, okay, it's okay. Let's smile and relax and be comfortable. So I think sometimes when I'm not reminding myself, I might have that face and people are like, does she not like me? Did she not want to talk to me? But no, I'm just so many years of that and battling that inner, voice of anxiety in my head.
Yes, and we can't judge someone by the expressions on their face, because a lot of people also, and I've misread people as well, but my husband doesn't always smile, and people are always used to be like, is he mad? Does he not like me? And it's like, no, he's friendlier than I am, and I'm pretty friendly. He just has a serious, look on his face. And, you just can't. I've been in many positions where I've wondered if someone was really enjoying themselves, and until someone else came up to them and said, oh, you're having a fabulous time, aren't you? I can tell. And I couldn't tell. I was like, okay, you just can't judge by those appearances. What is one thing that has helped your clients that you didn't expect? Because we know the confidence building, but was there anything unexpected?
I think most of it was pretty expected. I think the friendships that some of the students create, not just the kids, but right now I have a women's course going on, and the friendships that I see between them and having just that hour of almost fellowship. We're learning together and learning how to defend ourselves, but there's a unity there that I really love.
Yes, she's teaching a self-defense course right now, guys, so get ready for her next one so you can join in.
Yes, and to see the women just laughing and they're learning, but they're having that friendship and creating new friendships. I love that. And then for the younger kids, the same thing, that some of the bonds that I see from afar, or if I see a picture from a parent later, I'm like, they have really, bonded and created these friendships that I think they'll remember for a really long time.
Well, and that's the key to teamwork. When you are all going through something hard together, it builds a bond of teamwork. And those are also important things to learn. What 3 things now we're going to lighten things up. What are 3 things you can't live without?
3 things I can't live without. Coffee.
She's speaking my language.
My children, I have 4 kids, them, and then I want to say books, but I'm going to say knowledge in general. So knowledge in general, because like I said, I love to always be learning new things.
It can come from podcasts.
Right.
Or audio books and all kinds of ways to learn.
And people, like you said, podcasts. One thing that I like to say is that every person that we meet is a teacher. maybe that's not their profession, but we can always learn something from everybody that we meet, as long as we're open to.
Yes, and that's really why I do these podcasts. Yes, it does promote my business. I'm not going to lie. Of course, I do it to promote Fullerton Professional Organizing. And yes, I do promote other people's businesses, but it's so that you can learn about all of these other areas, these other careers, these other paths, and that you don't have to be perfect. We all have to work through a lot to be where we are. We have to learn a lot, keep learning from each other. Yeah, everything that you said, all the knowledge continues and continues. We're not perfect.
Right.
If you could turn back time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell her?
I think I would say same thing about don't get in your own way, but then also I think for many years I did things that maybe were to please other people, right, and not necessarily for my own fulfillment of my purpose or enjoyment, and was always worried about, well, I don't want to upset them or things like that, and I think as I get older, a few years ago I told my mom, it was New Year's Day, that my resolution was to do things that make me happy. And of course, doesn't mean that I'm out, making everybody upset. Oh, yeah. But choosing things that make me happy.
Yeah, I think when we are, at a certain point in our life, we realize that yes, we want other people to be happy, and no, we're not going to be rude. We're not going to purposely hurt people, and we don't purposely want to make people dislike us. But if it's out of our control, and people aren't going to like us and they're going to react a certain way, then it's not our problem.
Right.
And we realize that we can't let the negativity pay rent in our head.
Yes, absolutely.
Negativity cannot stay. It has to go. We just can't hold on to it. There are many, many, many days I go, is that person talking? And I was like, we have these things that talk to us in our heads, tell us that people are talking about us, tell us that people don't like us, tell us things that aren't true. I think our mind lies to us a lot, and we have to just shut it down and not let it.
No weapon formed against us.
That's right. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. It just won't, because a lot of times they're not even talking about us. It's all in our imagination, and if they are, we have no control over it. We still just let it go.
Right. And I always say that if it affects my peace, then I just let it go. But for example, one thing when I started martial arts, because I started as an adult, I was a mom. A lot of the comments that I got were like, a little bit old to be doing that, or what if you get hurt? I would have friends that would be like, come over, let's have some drinks, and I'm like, no, I'm going to martial arts today, and they were like, just stop doing that. And it did put thoughts in my head, like maybe they're right, maybe I can't do this, maybe I'm too old, I'm too overweight, whatever, all of those things, like you said, in my head, and overcoming that, and now I have my own school. So
we have to realize that what's for us is not for them, and what is for them is not for us, and not compare other people's journey to our journey. Our journey can only be our journey. Oh, nice. All right, and now, what are the best sources that have helped you along the way? Have there been anything that you've read or listened to, or?
You know what? I think I want to say music, but it's like a therapy for me. So whether it's worship music, praise and worship music, playing my own guitar, I think that a lot of times helps me overcome those thoughts of anxiety and getting to a place of peace within myself.
Yeah, music definitely does that for me as well. When I'm having a bad there's always a new song that I can pick up on that just speaks to me right where I am at that, whatever year it is, whatever I am going through, there's always something that, and aren't we glad that someone made earbuds, because now without disturbing others, we can always have that soothing music to keep, when we do have those anxiety moments, because I think all of us have some levels of anxiety. Maybe some have it more than others, but we all have something that music, and for me, praise music, just gives me so much peace. What makes you feel inspired? Well, we've probably already talked about this. Okay, here we go. Who are 3 people who have been the most influential to you?
Okay, my queen, my grandma. She passed away in 2017, but her work ethic, and I call her my queen. She just was such a hard worker, and just very. So one thing that I have heard people say is it's easy to act like a Christian, but it's not so easy to react like a Christian. And I feel that everything that she did, just the way that she carried herself and the way that she spoke, was very like, I wish I could be that, like a role model and a mentor and teacher and loving. So my grandmother and my mom, same thing, very high level work ethic, and just that like women empowerment that we can do hard things. And then the third one, it's actually my son, the one who started martial arts, Taekwondo, when he was 5, watching him overcome a lot of things as well with his health, and changing me, because I had him so young. I was only 20 when I had him, and so I don't think that I would be the person that I am, that I've grown into, without this little person in my life, who's not little anymore. He's bigger than me, but
they do tend to stretch us, don't they? Now, what is the one common myth about your profession that you'd like to debunk? What is it that people think about Taekwondo and your profession that you want to debunk?
I think, and this is not for everybody, because you spoke so well about it, that it is not just about the fighting. I've had people just make comments like, so you teach kids how to beat each other up. And I'm like, no, that's not what we do. It's not aggressive.
It's discipline.
Right, it's discipline. And like you said, it's an art. So we have all these creative outlets, whether we're a singer, a writer, a martial artist. We use, it's like dancing almost. It's a form of expression. And then it also enables us to have the tools that we need to defend ourselves
and protect ourselves. Yes,
if we need to.
Yes, because everyone should be taught not to be a bully and not to fight. But if we have to defend ourselves, it's a great way to protect yourself.
Right. Yeah. So I've had I had a school counselor ask me, she said, I just don't understand the point of it if you teach kids how to fight, but they can't come to school and fight. And I'm like, well, little girls go to ballet, but they don't show up in their tutu at school and prance around on their tiptoes all day. It's an extra thing that helps them grow, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally.
Yeah. Wow. I never thought that would have to be debunked. I thought people understood, but
not everyone.
That's true. Wow. All right. Well, if you had $1 million, what would you spend it on?
Whew, that's a hard one. I'm gonna say research, like medical research. I have some things that are very close to my heart that I think I would put that out there for.
Awesome. What is the best compliment you have ever received?
Someone said to me, this may not be a compliment, but these words changed my life. I appreciate you. It made me feel, okay, I'm doing something right, because it was on one of our bad days, and I'm thinking, what am I even doing? Am I even making a difference? And this was several years ago, and that person, it was one of my students' parents, said, I appreciate you, and it just changed my whole mindset.
Aww.
I'm like, okay, because I've been doubting.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
like we talked about those
Yeah.
voices, attacking my mind, and those words just made me think, okay.
Yeah, and I think when you know that that Taekwondo has helped you, and you know that it's helping students, and then the parents see the change in their own child, yes, it is something to appreciate. Absolutely. How would your if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
My grandma. That's number one.
I know it's gonna be Grandma. I would love to be with my grandma and my grandpa.
Yeah.
That would be too.
Yeah. My first. Oh, I'm getting emotional.
I know.
My first birthday without her, I didn't want to go celebrate. I did not want to go. I didn't want to go to dinner. And then I just could hear her voice telling me to go. And we used to go to the Olive Garden all the time. Her and I and my sister, my aunts. And we would always kind of have the same conversation where she would say, I don't know if I should get the tour of Italy or the lasagna. And I would say, well, I'm going to get the eggplant. That's what I always get. And then we would kind of share. And so I remember I was not wanting to have my birthday dinner that year. And I heard her voice and I said, you know what? I'm going to go. She wants me to go. But yes, I would love to have the tour of Italy and eggplant with her.
And what are there 2 other people?
Yes, I have an uncle who is alive, but he's not able to communicate with us. He has some medical issues, like I said, that are close to my heart. And sometimes I imagine what conversations would be like if he were able to still have that type of communication. I do have conversations with him when I visit him, but I have to imagine the responses that, because I'm talking to him and telling him a story, and I would love to have a dinner with him where he can respond. I would love that.
Okay, now the fun questions.
Okay.
What hobbies? Do you have any other hobbies besides your business?
Yes. Well, I'm a musician, so I love to sing and play guitar. That's one of my top hobbies. And then also I like to write poetry.
Ooh, nice.
So those are my top 2.
Okay. Me, I guess I like to decorate, I guess.
I like to make soaps and like bath salts and scrubs and stuff like that. So that's another one. It's hard to find time. Yeah. But now that I have my own business, even though I'm so busy, I actually do find myself having more time to do those things.
Oh, good.
So it's been great because I think before, when I was an employee and not a business owner, I hadn't been able to play my guitar for like 3 months. I wanted to, but then I'm like, I think you just need a rest. I was so tired.
Yes. Rest is good too. Do you consider yourself organized?
Yes and no. It depends on the day.
Yes. I think that's all of us.
Yes. So I'll be on a roll, really good keeping up with everything, and then one day I'll be tired and I'm like, I'll let it go. And then once I let it go for one day and the next day, and then by the 3rd day I'm like, whoa, what happened here? Well, I have 4 kids, so it's easy for things to get out of control.
Oh, yeah, real fast.
Right.
Yeah. Are you a piler or a filer?
Well, I would say, like, when I collect my mail, for example, I put it on my desk because it's not the time for mail. When it is time for mail, then that's when I sort through everything. Okay. And the same thing with all of my papers. Like I said, I used to work for an attorney, and there was a lot of paperwork, but there was a time for it. So I'm also like about my schedule and that when it's the time for it,
organized,
then I organize it.
That's good. All right. Is it easy for you to let go of things, or do you tend to be a saver?
For a lot of years, I was a saver. And there are still things that are very sentimental that I will absolutely keep. But in the last few years, since I've been divorced, I've been more able to let go of things. You know, I like to touch it and see, is this bringing me happiness right now? Do I really need to save this? How can I use this? A lot of the things that I have kept are, of course, my grandma's things. But there are some things of hers that I was able to let go. I think, like, for example, I was saving this whole entire dish set of bowls and plates, and the little mugs, and I didn't like the print on them.
Yeah.
That they were hers, and I don't even remember her ever serving dinner on those plates, but they were hers, so I kept them for 2 years in my cabinet. And then I said, I'm gonna donate these because I'm not using them. And then I noticed, I was able to let go of that, whereas before, I would have never let something like that go.
And I think sometimes it might be helpful, but if you don't like the print, it makes it easier.
Right.
But if you do like the print, but you just know you're not going to use them, maybe keeping one plate and having it as a display piece is helpful, and then you can let the rest go.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm speaking as an organizer because I love dishes and I have lots of them.
I love dishes too.
Yeah, I have a problem with them though.
Well,
that's my one addiction.
Before I was divorced, I was in this habit of collecting teacups from garage sales, estate sales, and I had tons. But it came to a point where they weren't even on display. They were just in a box. But going through that divorce and moving and all of that, I think really helped with what I need to keep and what I want, what I need, and what's just excess.
Right. Yeah, and I have also learned, not so much with my dishes yet, I'm getting there, but one day my china cabinet is going to be my container, and anything that overflows my china cabinet I'm going to get rid of. And if I have to, see how full my china cabinet is, I do have dishes that I am selling. I'm just making a confession that I have so many dishes that I am going to keep the ones that are in my china cabinet, and I am letting go of the rest, although I do have some overflowing on the walls.
Well, the ones on the walls are beautiful, so.
Yes, thank you. All right, so you do tend to keep few things because of sentimental reasons, right? Do you keep things, do you ever keep things just in case you will need them later?
I try not to because that was one of my problems before, is that I kept so many things just in case. And also with clothes, just in case this is going to fit me in 2 years. And like I said, I struggled with weight. I try not to. There's some things that I see, well, if I think I could use this in the next couple of months, yes. This is something I have no idea when I'll use this. I'm okay to let it go.
Yeah, I did hear a Peter Walsh years back. I'm dating myself now. But he said that, if it's something that you can purchase again at Goodwill, then let it go.
Right.
And that really helped me a lot. I mean, sure, if it's a unique antique piece, you're not going to be able to find it at Goodwill. But if you can repurchase an item at Goodwill because you got rid of something that you actually needed, then that's one thing. So I now let go of things a lot easier because most of those items can, be picked up again at Goodwill. Do you weed out paper and belongings often or systematically?
I try to set time to do it. Like I said, in my schedule. So when I say, okay, now I'm going to organize my desk, I do go through all the papers and I get rid of them. Same thing for my kids' backpacks and all the little folders and things they like to keep. Of course, then they
with
see.
4, you've got to.
They're like, why are you throwing this drawing away? And I'm like, because I already have 200 over there. No, we have a memory box and it's about this big. They get to, when they draw me something, they get to decide if we can put it in the memory box or it goes on the fridge, but it can't stay on the fridge forever. And then we have to decide if we're saving it in the box or if it's going to trash, because we can't fit everything in the box.
Yeah. And there's only so many treasure boxes you can keep per child.
Right.
Taking pictures of the things that we let go of may help as well. especially if it's a drawing,
Yeah.
you know, at least we'll have a picture of it and a
Yeah.
memory of it without actually having so many items.
Yeah.
Do you share your workspace or living space with someone with a different organizing style? Do all of your kids have different organizing styles, or are they all just kids?
They're all just kids. I don't think they have an organizing style. But my actual workspace, my desk, and all of that is my own space. And
Do any of your kids have a you know, out of all four of them, is one of them more organized than another, or are they pretty much the same?
No, I think my son can be organized when he chooses to do that. If he says he's gonna organize his room and go through his things, he does it very well. It's just not consistent enough.
Yes.
He's 14.
Oh, okay.
And then my little ones, I have 2 8-year-olds, they're twins, and a 5-year-old. So you know, their version of clean is just tucking things away. But one of them, his name is Ben, he's a little more like, let me put this where it goes. And I like that because one of my things is like, pick it up, put it away. Right? Not, oh, okay, let me go to the kitchen, and now it's still in the wrong spot.
Right.
And he doesn't, like I said, he's only 8.
Yeah.
He's not super consistent about it, but when I tell him to pick up his things or clean his room, I notice that instead of just like, let me just put it all in the closet, he puts his little things where they go.
Oh, good.
And the other day we went down the street to our neighbor's house, and 2 of my kids wanted to go, and the older one, Noah, and Ben wanted to stay home. And Ben whispered to me, he says, I'm going to surprise Jakey and Serafina that when they come home, I'm going to have cleaned all their stuff. And that's what he did. We were over there having fun.
Wow.
And we came back. He had put all of their things away. So I think he likes that order. Right, order.
Oh, that's nice. Now, you said you used to collect teacups. Do you still collect teacups, or do you collect anything now?
Do I collect anything now? Yes. Coffee mugs. Coffee mugs, and every so often I will. If I see a teacup at the thrift store or whatever, I will pick it up. I don't have many because I don't want to have an overflow of them. Yeah. And I can handle it and tell myself no on the teacups. Yeah. But for some reason I can't do it with the coffee. And I have 2 like coffee trees, those where you hang the cups, and then I bought a cart where I have my coffee cups, and it's by color. So right now, all the mugs on there are blue, some shade of blue, light blue, dark blue. And my daughter, it was like, when are you going to change it? I'm like, I'm going to change it to pink. I'm going to change it. And I have them. I have them in the cabinet, but I want them to be out for people to see. So I rotate them.
Well, I do. I have my holiday coffee mugs, and I do change out my coffee mugs right now. I have little Easter Bunny coffee mugs, but I do now try to only buy 4 because I have so many coffee cups in so many different themes that I try to...
None of my match. I don't think I have any matching. They're just all different. The ones with little sayings are my favorite colors. And I try, at first, I would buy them and put them on display, but I wouldn't use them. There's still a few I haven't used, but I try to use a different one every day. And last year, my brother asked me I think it was my brother, what's your favorite part of your day? And I said, honestly, my favorite part of the day is choosing which coffee mug I'm going to drink out of that morning. It's just something that brings me happiness. So I don't think
it's the simple things sometimes, right?
So I don't think I'll stop, but I obviously don't want to.
Well, I used to have all mismatched, but then my collection did get out of hand, and then that's when I decided, well, you know what? I'm going to pick my favorite holiday ones, only stick to 4, that way I can change them out and only have 4 in my cabinet at a time instead of an overflow. I'm not going to say I only have 4 in my cabinet, but my attempt is to switch them out so I don't have an overflow of coffee mugs, because I do have a lot. Are you a highly visual person that needs to see your stuff? I think you are, because of your coffee cups. Or do you need to have things out of sight?
Well, if it's like, you could say that coffee mugs are clutter. but I love them so much, so I like those to be on display. Other things I like for them to be put away, like shoes. I cannot stand to have everyone's shoes thrown around, so I have to have a system for that.
Yeah, well, that's good. Okay, our last questions. Where are you the most organized?
Whew. I don't know. Let me think. If I don't know, that's not good. I guess my kitchen is where I'm the most organized because everything for sure needs to have a space, and I don't let it get out of hand because it's an area that people see.
Yeah.
The place that gets out of hand is my closet.
There you go. Yeah, everybody has that one place that they struggle with organization and the one place that they really have a good system for. And I've mentioned this on podcasts before, so I've probably bored them to death, but I have all of my party stuff in my garage, and it is organized, but you wouldn't know it because there's so much of it.
Right.
So I guess my least organized, I don't say it's not organized, it's organized, but my most cluttered space is probably too many dishes. I have way too many dishes, and I am in the process of working on that. So, what are your okay, we already talked about where you're least organized is the closet. Okay, now this is the last question. Do you have a website, or how can people see you online or connect with you online?
Right. So I do have social media, my personal one, and then my business, which is Metamorphix, MA, and it's the same for Facebook and Instagram. And I have someone who is right now creating a website, so I'm not sure exactly what the web address is, but it's in the works.
And she'll send it to me whenever, and I'll add it whenever she does get it.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Well, awesome, guys. It was great talking to you guys and talking to her. I hope you really enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next podcast. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.